time on how I put a camera in my best friend's bathroom and found her doing the dirty with my senior citizen dad? Okay, so boom, let's jump right into it. So I'm 14 years old and very much gay, or lesbian rather. I have a huge crush on my best friend who's 16 years old and I'm fascinated by her. She's just the best. I haven't come out yet, so no one knows, but I'm planning on coming out soon and expressing my love to my best friend shortly after. We also change in front of each other, so we're already quite comfy. Well, I saw a video on TikTok that made me buy a cute little bear, and I gave the bear to my best friend. The bear ended up having cameras in it, and I swear I didn't know. Maybe I did? Anyways, I logged into the camera and my best friend had put it in her bathroom. So occasionally I would just watch her brushing her teeth, doing her hair, cleaning up in general. But anytime she showered, I swear I wouldn't look. Yeah, it's a little creepy, but no harm if I don't watch her change, right? Anyways, a week into me watching, one day I called her and she didn't answer. My parents were at work and I was home alone, bored. And since she didn't answer, I decided to just check the cameras to see what she was doing. But this particular time when I looked at the camera, I didn't have to wait because she was already in the bathroom. There's no sound on the video, but I could tell she was laughing and talking to someone and she was literally naked. I thought, oh, she must have made up with her ex, and I got a little jealous. But then quickly to my surprise, I found out that wasn't the case at all. A man ran into the bathroom after her, picked her up on the wall, and they started making out. Then he carried her back into the room. I can only imagine what then went on in that room. Well, that man was my 56-year-old dad. I dropped my laptop and my jaws dropped. I was just shocked. Lost for words. My 56-year-old dad is cheating on my 36-year-old mom with my 16-year-old best friend who I stalked with the hidden camera in her bathroom? So I can't really even say anything, right? I don't know. What should I do?
She hit her mom in the face with a cactus. Story time. So a couple years back, I used to work at this grocery store, and at this grocery store, we sold plants. Now, amongst those plants were cacti, similar to this one, but a lot smaller. But either way, they were still very prickly. So one day, this little girl and her mom walk into the store and they go over and look at the plants. The little girl had to be around 4 or 5 years old, but she was really interested in those cactuses and she kept trying to touch them, but her mom was like, no, don't touch that, they're sharp. But of course she didn't listen to her mom and she kept trying to touch the cactuses. So obviously the mom gets super upset and she starts yelling at her kid, but her kid does not care. She still keeps trying to touch the cactuses. So eventually her mom gets so frustrated that she pops her in the hand and the little girl gets so mad. This little girl picks up the cactus from the pot, smacks her mom in the face, and the cactus gets stuck inside of her mom's cheek. And it was just hanging there like...
Story time about how I crashed my dad's really expensive car. So a little background information. My mom had just got remarried to my stepdad 3 years ago. And he was this rich asshole who owned a bunch of food trucks and thought he was the shit. Well, at the time I also had a boyfriend. And we had only been dating for like a month and a half. My boyfriend would always beg me to let him drive my stepdad's car. And I always said no because that was like his child. Like he had children. He could care less about them. His car was more important. Anyway, so the one weekend my parents are out of town and one of my friends was throwing a graduation party. So that whole day my boyfriend was trying to talk me into taking the car. And I already knew where my stepdad hid the keys. So I just decided I wouldn't drink that night and I would just take the car. He kept asking me if he could drive, but clearly I said no, because this kid literally told me that he crashed the first 2 cars that he had. So we get to the party, we're having a good time, and one of my friends tells me that everybody's taking pictures with my car outside. Like for part 2. Part 2 about how I crashed my dad's very expensive car. So like I said, everybody's taking pictures of the car, but I decided to let it go at first. I mean, there was one point where I went outside just so that way I could kind of let everybody know, hey, you're taking pictures with my car. Well, half an hour later, my boyfriend and I decided to leave. And he's obliterated. Like, we probably got 50 feet from her house and then I had to stop the car so that way he could get out and throw up in somebody's yard. Anyway, so he gets in the car, we're on the way back to my house. And my house was like a 20-minute drive away. Well, we were 5 minutes from my house. At this one intersection, I get a green light and I go to make a right, and I accidentally hit a car turning out of the bar parking lot. So I'm literally freaking the fuck out. And my boyfriend's in the seat next to me crying for some reason. So the guy in the other car calls the cops. The cops show up, they call my stepdad and my mom. My boyfriend went to the hospital, he had alcohol poisoning. Well, my boyfriend told his mom that it was all my fault and I'm grounded for 6 months.
My sister can see ghosts, Story time. When we were younger, my sister used to claim that she could see ghosts all the time, but I never really believed her until this one night. I decided that I was going to sleep with my sister in her bedroom this night, a night that I will never forget. Now, my sister is someone who snores, very loud, I might add. So whenever I would sleep in her bedroom, I would hear her snoring throughout the whole night. Well, on this particular night, I could hear her snoring, but then all of a sudden she gets silent. I look over to see if she's okay, and she's propped up in bed and pointing at the closet. And she's kind of freaking me out, so I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she turns to me with this really scared look on her face, and she says, "There's someone in the closet." And as soon as she says that, something spooks her and she runs out of the room. But the creepiest part about this whole situation is that after she left, I heard footsteps run out the room after her.